So guys, I had legit all the intentions of making up this series for you guys. I've had over the past couple of months, I had no request for this book, but I've seen many people have done it. I've seen, I've watched the videos, I've heard of them, I've even heard of the movies. If you know what I'm talking about, Katniss Everdeen. If you know who she is, you probably know that she plays on the Hunger Games. And yes, Hunger Games has up their own books. And this is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. This is not a book review. This is where I'm going to be doing videos. Part 1. This is chapter 1, part 1, because mainly this video would be 40 minutes long. So I'm going to cut this into parts, so you guys would be seeing a 3-part event. This is where I think there's so many long chapters in this book, so I'm gonna basically be counting down chapters that are the most longest. I'm gonna be putting them into 3 parts. Chapters that are the second to longest, 2 parts, and the other ones I'll just be doing one. So like if it's 10 minutes, 11 minutes, it's gonna be 1 part only. If it's 19 minutes to 20 some minutes, 2 parts. And if it's like 40 to 50 minutes long, I don't know, it's gonna be 3 parts. So chapter 1, I've seen many people do. It's been over 22 minutes, so it'd be fitted in with the part 2s and the part 3s. So we'll have to see how good I can go beyond this. I don't know. Copyright owner goes to Suzanne Collins. This is part 1. It just kind of chapter 1, the tributes. I'm gonna try not to mess up any of my words on here. When I wake up, the other side of the bed is cold. My fingers stretch out, seeking Prim's worth, but finding only the rough canvas cover of the mattress. She must have had bad dreams and climbed in with our mother. Of course she did this the day of the reaping. I prop myself up on one elbow. That's enough light in the bedroom to see them. My little sister Prim curled up on her side, cocooned in my mother's body, their cheeks pressed together in sleep. My mother looks younger, still worn, but not so beaten down. Prim's face is as fresh as a raindrop, as lovely as the primrose from which she was named. My mother was very beautiful once too, or so they will tell me. Sitting at Prim's knees, guarding her, is the world's ugliest cat, mushed in nose, half of one ear missing, eyes in the eyes the color of rotting squash. Prim named him Buttercup, insisting that his muddy yellow coat matched the bright yellow flower. He hates me, or at least distrusts me. Even though it was years ago, I think he still remembers how I tried to drown him in a bucket when Prim brought him home. Scrawny kitten, belly swollen with worms, crawling with fleas. The last thing I needed was another mouth to feed. But Prim begged so hard, cried even, I had to let him stay. It turned out okay. My mother got rid of the vermin and he's a born mouser. Even catches the occasional rat. Sometimes when I clean a kill, I feed Buttercup the entrails. He has stopped hissing at me. Entrails, no hissing. This is the closest we will ever come to love. I swing my legs off the bed and slide into my hunting boots, simple leather that has molded to my feet. I pull on the trousers, a shirt, tuck my long dark braided up into a cap, and I grab my forage bag on the table under a wooden bowl to protect it from the hungry rats and cats alike. Sits a perfect little goat cheese wrapped in basil leaves. Prim's gift to me on reaping day. I put the cheese carefully in my pocket as I step outside. Our part of District 12, nicknamed the Seam, is usually crawling with coal miners heading out to the morning shift. To the morning hold on, guys, to the morning shift. Wait, where did I go? To the morning shift. At this hour, men and women with hunched shoulders, swollen knuckles, many who have long since stopped trying to scrub the coal dust off out of their broken nails, the lines of their sunken faces, but today the black cinder streets are empty. Shutters on the squat gray houses are closed. The reaping isn't until 2. Maybe as well sleep in if you can. Our house is almost at the edge of the seam. I only have to pass a few gates to reach the scruffy field called the meadow. Separating the meadow from the woods, in fact enclosing all of District 12, is a high chain link fence topped with barbed wire loops. In theory, it's supposed to be electrified 24 hours a day as a deterrent to the predators that live in the woods. Packs of wild dogs, lone coyotes, bears that used to threaten our streets, but since we're lucky to get 2 or 3 hours of electricity in evenings, it's usually safe to touch. Even so, I always take a moment to listen carefully for the hum that means the fence is live. Right now it's silent as a stone, concealed by a clump of bushes. I flatten out on my belly and slide under a 2-foot stretch that's been loose for years. There are several other weak spots in the fence, but this one is so close to home I almost always enter the woods here. As soon as I'm in the streets, I retrieve a bow and a sheath of arrows from a hollow log. Electrified or not, the fence had been successful at keeping the flesh eaters out of District 12. Inside the woods they roam freely, and there are added concerns like venomous snakes, rabid animals, and no real paths to follow. But there's also food if you know how to find it. My father knew, and he taught me some before. He was blown to bits in a mine explosion. There, my father knew, and he taught me some before he was blown to bits in a mine explosion. There was nothing even to bury. I was 11 then. 5 years later, I still wake up screaming for him to run. Even though trespassing in the woods is illegal and poaching carries the severest of penalties, most people would risk it if they had weapons. But most are not bold enough to venture out with just a knife. My bow is a rarity, crafted by my father along with a few others that I keep well hidden in the woods. Carefully wrapped up in waterproof covers, my father could have made good money selling them. But if the officials found out, he would have been publicly executed for inciting a rebellion. Most of the peacekeepers turn a blind eye to the few of us who hunt because they're also hungry for fresh meat, as anybody is. In fact, they're among our best customers. But the idea that someone might be arming the scene would never have been allowed. In the fall, a few brave souls sneak into the woods to harvest apples, but always inside of the meadow, always close enough to run back to the safety of District 12 if trouble arises. District 12, where you can starve to death in safety, I muttered. Then I glanced quickly over my shoulder. Even here, even in the middle of nowhere, you worry some might overhear you. When I was younger, I scared my mother to death. The thing I would blurt out about District 12, about the people who rule the country, pen him from the far-off city called the capital. Eventually, I understood that this would only lead us to more trouble. So I learned to hold my tongue and to turn my features into an indifferent mask so that no one could ever read my thoughts. Do my work quietly in school, make only polite small talk in the public market, discuss little more than trades in the hog, which is the black market where I make most of my money. Even at home where I am less pleasant, I avoid discussing tricky topics like the reaping or food shortages or the Hunger Games. Prim might begin to repeat my words, and there would be and then there would we be? Then where would we be? In the woods waits the only person with whom I can be myself. Gale. I could feel the muscles in my face relax, my pace quickening as I climbed the hills and our place, a rock ledge overlooking a valley. A thicket of berry bushes protects it from unwanted eyes. The sight of him wanting there brings on a smile. Gal says, I never smile except in the woods. Hey, Catnip, said Scout. My real name is Katniss, but when I first told him, I had barely whispered it, so he thought I'd say catnip. That when when this crazy lunatic started following me around the woods looking for handouts, it became his official name for me. I officially had to kill the Lennox because he scared off game. I almost regretted it because he wasn't bad company, but I got a decent price for his pelt. Look what I shot. Gail holds up a loaf of bread with an arrow stuck in it, and I laugh. It's really bakery bread, not the flat, dense loaves we make from our grain rations. I take it in my hands, pull out the arrow and hold the puncture in the crust to my nose, inhale the fragrance that makes my mouth flood with saliva. Fine bread like this is for special occasions. Still warm, I say. He must have been at the bakery at the crack of dawn to trade for it. What did it cost you? Just a squirrel. I think the old man was feeling sentimental this morning, says Gal. Even wish me luck. Well, we all feel a little closer today, don't we? I say, not even bothering to roll my eyes. Prim looks as a cheese Prim left as a cheese. I pull it out. His expression brightens at the treat. Thank you, Brim. We'll have a real feast. Suddenly he falls into the capital as he mimics Effie Trinket, the maniacally upbeat woman who arrives once a year to read out the names at the reaping. I almost forgot. Happy Hunger Games. He plucks a few berries from the bushes around us. I'm just going to leave it off here, guys, for part one. How much pages is there in this? There's 21 pages, so we might just have two parts into this. I don't know. I've read more than what I thought I'd read. But yeah, guys, thank you for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed. If I can get this book down. I don't know if I can. Alright, well, see you guys in the next video, part 2. Bye, guys.